All right, everybody. Welcome to the WNBA Matchup Report. We just got done talking a lot of the NBA conference final games that have been really exciting, and now we get to transition to the W, where we've had a very fun and exciting start to the regular season on that side. Uh, I know we both talked a lot about the games we've been watching so far, and us getting a little bit more familiar with the W as we get as we watch more of these games. So I'll just say right away, like my overall impression so far at the beginning of the season is the off season that was like shortened and truncated in the way it was and everything that happened is kind of like, and I'm curious to see like what your thoughts on this too. Like it seems like it's had like a large ripple effect on the W in general, just across the league.
Yeah, and it was, and a lot of this, I would say a lot of this goes down to the negotiations and why it went so late into typically past what the WNBA season would have started. It still was going to be like it's been really abridged off season like for the past couple years, and I think from what I've understood, and it seems to just been once again like only made worse because of the negotiations with the contracts, and then just being like, oh shit, we got the season now. Like, all right, let's get everything going. We got to
Well,
get
because you had like the free agency, which went like that, and everything. The draft, it was like, and then all of a sudden you're just on the court.
yeah. And I think like it was just expedited by the negotiations and them going a little bit beyond what they had that planned. It still felt like it was going to be relatively like fast anyway. But I agree. I think we're seeing these teams and players have to knock off a lot of rust, and it's difficult. Like we talk about this with the NBA, and literally just talk about it with the coaching stuff. And it's like, all right, like you have coaches that have to come in and deal with so many different personalities. And we constantly hear about all these like players like Anthony Edwards who are like boisterous, and like you have to deal with all the off the court stuff as well, and the baby mamas and everything. And it's like, how do you deal with that while also managing the on the court stuff as well? And now imagine doing that while learning your team, learning what skill sets like really match your team, and like what type of like team and like how you're going to play on the court. So it's just it says a lot that like, and it's difficult because like we're seeing injuries now. We're seeing like them have to manage this, and even before like the season has started, like Spraniescu has yet to play. So all of this to me is just it once again is expedited, and it feels like it's insane that we've gotten to this point this quickly, and these teams are still very clearly figuring it out.
Yeah, especially on the defensive side of it all. Like a lot of these teams are scoring. Like scoring doesn't seem to be as much of an issue. Like, I mean, well, I don't know. The Mystics also like scored over 100 and then barely scored 71 game.
Yeah.
But like the defense in general just seems to be like the biggest factor in all this. And I mean, we can jump to this already. Like the Dallas Wings coach talking about like people, and this was like a lineup thing as well. But like people playing selfish, and then like if you just watch their games, their defense is like who's rotating where. Like why is this player over here? Like it just seems like the communication is off. It's like it's things that like you probably would work through normally in like an off season where you have more time to practice with each other. But then you add all, like you said, you add all these new players in, and it seems like we're watching them all kind of have this like elongated preseason so far at the beginning of this regular season because they're also kind of figuring out. I mean, the Sparks, right? Like this, we saw the Sparks talk about this after their first week where they were like, like our defense is going to be better. Like we should be better than this, and we have to figure it out sooner rather than later because the regular season has already started, and with how short it can be for us, we have to figure this out now because if we don't figure it out soon, then we're already screwed later on because you can't just flip that switch like right for the playoffs and then you're just like, oh, okay, we're good. Like you have to actually get yourself to the playoffs in general. So yeah, it's been an interesting watch so far because it feels like a lot of these teams are figuring themselves out as well as just each other as they feel out like how the competition is playing against them now because of the more freedom of movement that's being allowed, like the less physicality. We're watching the refs have to adjust to everything
Yeah.
now, and like, they're getting like harped on like constantly. Like it was a big point of emphasis going into the season, like the refs, like hey, like the physicality stuff, like just keep an eye on it a little bit more, like overemphasize this, and that's something we see in a lot of sports. Like hey, we have this new rule. It's going to be overemphasized like the first few weeks, but then everything will kind of like even out after. So I'm hoping we see that coming up a little bit more too, where it's like the refs have it all figured out. Like I do truly think like there's going to be a point in the season, and I think it'll probably be within like the next couple of weeks where it'll start to click for everybody, or at least the good teams, and the rest will all like start to like it'll just start to click, and then everyone else will kind of fall into place. I that's my prediction at least.
It's tough to figure out like how long it's going to take though, because
Yeah.
and I think we'll like I don't want to sit there and be like, well, the team that figures it out first is going to be the team that goes on to win it all. But like at the same time, like it's going to give them an advantage at least during the regular season. The faster things click, and obviously like there were a lot
Just
of
don't
like
let the aces be the first ones to
yeah,
figure it out.
that was what my thought process was in this. And like for me, it was you have to think about the teams that like are like newly reconstructed. Like you look at a team like Chicago or Atlanta who are like have undergone all these changes, and it's like all right, like there's so much happening. You have to like like learn each other's play styles, learn what benefits each other, and the coach is trying to figure this out at the same time. Like you're working to figure this all out. And then while this is happening, you might have new players join your team because we're seeing players get waived, every day, especially this early in the season where it's like, all right, like they're a good pickup. Like we might as well add them to the roster. And now like there's just so much change.
I
And
mean, Haley Van Lith was what she was cut from Chicago 2 weeks ago, and then now she's hitting game-winning shots for her
yep.
new team, like already.
It's just funny the fact that like that type of stuff happens. And I know like we hear like the Baker Mayfield game a couple years ago where he like went to LA on like 2 days of like learning the playbook and everything.
Yeah.
That was like crazy. But I think to be fair, like basketball's a different level. Like you can go out there and you don't have to really understand a playbook or anything. Just go out there and put ball and hoop. And I think like that is what makes it interesting. And I think that at the bottom line, that is what is making this season interesting. Is that like you have to see these players, regardless of how well they know each other, how well they know play styles, how well they understand the other teams as well, because you have to try to adjust and game plan for other teams. It's going to happen in the ways that it's happened, in the ways that we've seen these teams adjust in real time to each other has been really entertaining.
Yeah, and I mean, because despite what some GMs like Daryl Morey might think, team chemistry does actually like matter. So you see how I got a shot in right there.
You just
Team
had to.
chemistry actually does like significantly. At least I think like it's huge. It's important. So I think like we're kind of both like I don't know when it's going to click for a lot of these teams, but like I think as professional athletes and coaches, like they're all going to try to figure it out for the most part within the next few weeks. I think like I don't think it's going to take that long.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then anything else you had for like overall broad strokes before we move to like some specific matchups?
Nope.
Okay. So I want to talk about one I watched first. It was last week, but it was Mystics and Fever. This game actually ended up going into overtime, and the Mystics win 104-102. Brother, I was joking. Well, I wasn't joking, but like I was. The joke was that like, oh, I've been higher on the Wizards going into the next season, and now I'm like, oh, I'm also high on the Mystics going into this season, and I'm feeling more and more confident about that as this short season so far, like has gone on, because Sonia Citrone is just cold blooded, dude. She was amazing this game, and she is a killer. It's been awesome to watch her just do what she does at such an efficient level, and to just like for her to be the one to get like basically carry this team to overtime at points, and just the way she went about it, like the shot she's making, the way she's committed, like as a second year for her to be out there being the one that everyone is looking to, and to watch her communicate and be the leader on this team has been really, really impressive. But then on top of that, you have with Citron, you also have Kiki, who is, dude, I love watching her. Like the way she can get down and screen, like the physicality that she has, and then just what she can do once you get her down low. I love watching her. And then Shakira Austin, who has been like, I wasn't as familiar with her coming into this season, but dude, watching her this game, I was like, holy crap, her energy, like, and her passing, like, as a big too, where it was like everything she was doing, I was like, holy shit. I was like, every time I watch the Mystics game, I'm like, this team is really fun.
Yeah. And it's funny, like, real quick on the Shakira Austin thing. It's funny because when Unrivaled came to Philly, there were obviously a couple of players who I was able to see, talk with at the media scrums. Not to flex, I did talk to Paige Peckers. Yeah, like and see some of them up close and in practices and stuff, because they also had a practice session that I attended. And you mentioned the energy from Shakira Austin. It's funny, that was something I saw and remembered from watching her during one of the Unrivaled practices, where I was like, oh dang, like, yeah. And it's funny that like even in it's like it's an off season type of thing, and it also keeps them from going overseas, but they really do take something like that seriously, and like really work to craft and develop their game. And I think she was a player that, like, once again, going in, I was unfamiliar with, and I was like, oh, I like the energy from her that I saw even during the practice sessions, and to see it translate has been really exciting.
Yeah, sorry, I had to mute myself. There's like two dogs fighting outside my apartment right now, like
Don't worry,
barking at each
I'll
other.
save you because I got another game to talk about, and that
Oh
was.
wait, hold on, real quick before we move on. Don't hold on.
Hey, I'm
Don't let me
good.
get my mystics like praise out real
Okay, yeah,
quick,
go ahead.
okay?
Get your,
Hold on.
get it off.
Well, first I'll say for the Fever, I know, and it's been better since this game, but like the Caitlin Clark stuff, dude. All right, as like going from a casual fan of the W to like now we're like it's like we're like analyzing, we're watching every game and everything like that now, and like we're kind of more embedded with like the fans. Brother, the Caitlin Clark stuff is toxic as hell. And it's like it's hard to go online where you're like, oh yeah, let's see what everyone's saying about the W, and it's just like it's one or the other side. It feels like with her, but I will say like while the threes weren't hitting right away, her drives have been really really impressive this year. Like, and I think we said that like last show too. I was like the one game I watched of her, I was like, okay, we're starting off the year like that, where it's like kind of the opposite Caitlin Clark I was expecting to see. The drives are still really good. Like I do think she's like manipulating the pick and roll really well, and she's like she's taking her shots like at a really or by shots I mean like she's choosing her drives like at a good time. Like she has really good timing with that, but the threes are starting to hit again, and they were hitting in this game, especially like she was the one who tied it with 2 seconds left, with like made it 89 this game. Citrone actually almost gamed this by hitting a half court shot that was like a second too late. It was funny watching like she would felt like it felt like she was the only Mystic who saw that it wasn't in time, because like Kiki and all them ran up to her like, oh my god, and Sonya's like, no, like it is overtime, like we're moving on. But yeah, the only other thing I would say, because it's not all like praise, but like you do still see them because they are such a young team that like they do still make some of those mistakes. Like there was one in this game specifically where I forget who it was, but one of the I think might have been Georgia. She was coming up the court and she did not see that a Fever player was about to basically just lay her out on a screen as she was running up the court, and she got leveled. And then you even heard the broadcaster now. It's like, well, that's just something you got to learn as like a young team. Like you got to be able to communicate. Like, hey, you're about to get killed if you don't turn your head around.
It's
So
your
it's
welcome
like
to the
it's simple stuff like the communication stuff. You see them with it mess up on the younger side, but yeah,
Yeah, it's like I was just saying. It's one of those like welcome to the league moments where it's like they always
yeah,
asking like, oh, like what was your moment? It's funny like always hearing them like and the one that I literally saw and this is like random but a side note. Like Stefan Diggs talking about like his where he was like he said it wasn't even me like I got hit. He was like Adrian Peterson, I guess Cam Chancellor, like had met, and he was like it's yeah, he was fake blocking and it scared the mess out of him.
yeah,
And I think like that would be up there with me for like getting hit with a hard screen. But yeah, like you mentioned, it's like one of those situations where I, I will go on this rant 1,000 times and 1,000 times more. You have to let not only players develop, but teams with young players to develop together. I
yeah.
think we've seen that with the NBA, but I think the Fever are a good case for that, where it's like you're continuing to see them develop, and I think being patient is the most important thing. Like, yes, you would want to see Caitlin Clark be the Caitlin Clark that has been promised. With that being said, it's we talk about like not only the NBA, WNBA, growing with the league's growth as well. But these players are adjusting to it as well, and I think that's the most important part that like we need to remember it all this and like giving them time to actually develop, which is why I think it's unfortunate that we're seeing players be waived this early in the season, where it's like I don't think you're really fully seeing exactly what and granted, yes, the coaches are day in and day out at practices and they see them a lot more and they're around things a lot more. I still think you need a bit more time to really develop these type of things and make informed decisions about what you're going to do with your roster.
100%. All right, what was your matchup?
All right, it was a Chicago Sky versus Minnesota Lynx
Mm,
matchup. 86-79 win for the Sky, but I think the most important thing that came out of this was the Rakia Jackson
yeah,
ACL
so
injury,
unfortunate.
which yeah, it really is like. And we talk about she was someone that played in Unrivaled, was a part of that and played great in that, and then like and this is like I'm conflicted on like something like this because it's like we constantly like I don't think we have an unrivaled sort of thing for like NBA players. Like we constantly hear them maybe doing like small little things. And I know like Rutgers Park is a big one. Like that's years and years ago. I don't think we see that anymore. But like
Not as much, yeah. Some
It,
of the times, like when you have the international, like this last year, we had
yeah,
like the Euro League
but
stuff that was
yeah,
going
but
on.
that's like every 4 years, the Olympics and stuff like that. But I think something, and this is I think Unrivaled is great, but I think it is going to be something interesting where it's like how much of it is honing your craft versus like just needing a rest period to like get
Mhm.
injured. And I think at the same time, it's like, well, the players are signing on for this. They know their health. They know like they should be aware of like the risks that are coming with this and being and having to play essentially a year-round basketball with like a very little break.
I mean, yeah, look at Brianna Stewart. Like she's overseas playing, and then
Yeah,
immediately starts to see, and it's just like, damn.
I think it really like we talk about the players needing to develop and the league developing as well. It's the players understanding developing their health as well and their bodies. And not that I'm not gonna sit here and blame this on her and say it's her fault that she tore her ACL. That'd be insane. But I think like you just have to just consider just the effect of like the body's toll
The
of
constant
essentially
strain.
yeah constant strain. Where it's like that I think to me is going to be like we there's a lot of stuff that like we coming in as WNBA analysts. I should not analysts is a stretch. As people who love the sport of basketball and want to watch WNBA more, we're starting to figure out. And it's funny that like we're figuring things out just as they are too, which is I think a
We
good
picked a
thing.
good season.
Yeah, it's a good. And I think especially like I'd rather come into a season where it's like they're like we're figuring it all out together. And them also being open and saying like we are figuring things out, I think helps in that process as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of fun though. It's a lot of fun watching and figuring this out,
Yeah.
and like learning this league. All right, but what else was
Oh,
there?
the actual game.
Yeah, I was like, what'd you have for the
Guy,
game?
this guy who won this, Gary Jaquez, rookie out of
Dude, she is
UCLA.
awesome.
Yes, and like not to bring up the fantasy team. She's been very beneficial so far early. I just need to put that out there. But it's we talk about like the negatives of like constantly having the strain on your body, but it's also like to for some players like who on a UCLA national championship team like she was like a couple months ago to now stepping in the W and looking comfortable as a playmaker for them as a scorer for them has been really great to see. And she as well as Camila Cardozo are a big reason why the Sky were able to win this game. And this is a team that is essentially like entirely not entirely revamped, but a big part of they went a different direction following the Angel Reese trade and really just restructuring their roster differently. And it's really been cool to see like Yever Jaquez like start to take a crucial part in this Sky team. And I'm excited to see what that looks like now with the fact that she has to be
She's gonna
more
have to step up.
with Rakia Jackson out. And then on the Lynx side as well, I wouldn't say that they played bad in this game. I think the Sky just like we constantly talk about just teams just performing better and just doing more. I think this was a case of that where it's like the Lynx and once again like how do you manage the non-Nificia collar like moments for them. This season is going to be interesting, and I think we're constantly seeing players like Kayla McBride. I think had a really good game. Natasha Howard as well. So like,
Yeah.
how do you get these players into rhythm and really establishing? Because I think this team is looking good right now to me. Like they passed the eye test. I've watched like just trying to get more of Olivia Miles minutes. But I think in the process I found that
Dude.
I really like this team as well.
Okay, can we? Because this was a point I was gonna make and shoot around for the W at the end of this. But brother, this rookie class has been so fun to watch, and Olivia Miles has been like one of just the like. I don't even want to like. You're talking about the eye testing. It's exactly that. Like you're just watching her. Like this is fun. Like she's clearly got it. Even like you're watching like a 5'10" guard go out there just dice people up, and it's insanely fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like I can't speak enough like how impressive she has been. Like that's I even though like she was part of the reason where I was like, oh, like they've had some like some rookie mistakes, like they're still learning, but like even then like when she has her moment, she's like, okay, I see where this is going. And then you've got Jaquez, who we were just talking about. I forgot her name. We just said it. I was about to figure her name. But dude, like watching this rookie class like work their way through this first couple of weeks has been like hey man, like it's kind of like what we saw with the WNBA this last season, where we're like, where did all these rookies are ready to go like this quick? I feel like we're kind of seeing the same thing with the W this year.
Yeah.
But all right, ready for my next matchup?
Hit me with it.
All right, so I was watching kind of over a few games, but I was watching the Sparks a lot. I will say this: Cameron Brink, the worries and like the way they were talking about her would be going into the season. I was like, man, they're kind of like shitting on her. Like they don't think she's gonna be able to step up, and like they were especially at the game one, there was like, oh, her defense, all that. She's looked genuinely like a lot better as the season has gone on for them, which they need because their defense is still very much struggling. But I will say the brightest spot out of everyone on that team right now is Kelsey Plum. I was talking about Caitlin Clark's drives and what she was doing. Kelsey Plum gets going downhill. I'm sitting there already thinking like she's gonna do something. Like this bucket's gonna be good, whether it be just finishing the drive or pivoting and hitting. Like I was like every time, like, and her she's hitting threes and she's been extremely efficient in her shots as well. Like leading this team, it's like okay, like you're able to get some offense from some of your better players. Like now we just need the defense to step up a little bit here. It would be kind of nice to see that.
Yeah. And it's I think the Sparks are an interesting team, and I think especially like I think Cameron Brink is going to be more, a big part of that defense. When like I think like I agree with you that I think she has taken strides to look better, especially like the not just the injury concerns, but I think just the fact that when she was on the court, you weren't seeing her to the level of what you were expecting. I think I was looking at this and saying like, all right, like yes, you need more from her, and I think once she gets more comfortable and starts to once again keep ramping up to being the player that I think she's capable of, which is really good, then I think we'll see her be a bigger part of stepping into that defensive role and being like like the just a big part of their defense. And I don't want to like sit there and be like, oh, she could be like the Wimby of this like the Sparks team. But I think like when you have like a big four like that, having someone that can roam and be effective, I think like that role. Naturally, it feels like it's the Wemby role now, but I think like that role I could see her playing as like a roamer, as someone who like just naturally roams and is constantly like helping everyone and being effective, mostly in the paint as well.
Well, I also like what she does off the ball, where it's like you'll see like they'll make a play on like when they do make a play on defense, like she's quick to get down court, and even if she's not getting the ball, she's putting herself in a position to help out whoever does have the ball, or just like to be like an outlet option. Like to see stuff like that from a young player, like that's exactly what you want to see from her.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got next?
All right, this is my final game, and it was at the same time as the OKC one, so I watched it back. And it wasn't good for your Mystics. 92-69 loss.
Yeah.
Where the Wings just came out and dominated them. Ozzy Fudd.
Two very confusing like the Wings are a very confusing team.
And it's once again you're trying to figure out like just where these teams are headed, and I think Arike Ngubawale she's like from what I understand has been really good her entire career. And I've heard bits and pieces there, even as a casual fan. But I really was like, yes, a lot of this focus has been on Paige Beckers and Nazi as well. But I was really excited to see how she's, looked as well. And I think, like, once again, we came into this and we still are very much, like, casual fans who are watching and learning and enjoying and developing, like, who our favorite players are and our favorite play styles. And I think for me, she's just become a player that I really like to watch whenever I watch Wings games, even if they are still a team that clearly has a lot to figure out. And I think she was a big part of 16 points in this game, 2 threes, good efficiency. I think she was a big part of why they were able to win this game against the Mystics. And it's crazy that the Mystics didn't even shoot bad. Like you look at this and say they shot nearly 50% from the field, 42% from three. Dallas just did it better, just outpaced them and scored so much better and more efficiently.
Yeah, I just need the Wings to figure out what their lineups actually are gonna be, because I think right now they're struggling. Like this is kind of like the conversation when Ozzy was drafted. They're like, okay, like who's like her between her and Ogunbowale? Like,
yeah,
what are the lineups, the minutes? Like, how are we gonna figure this out? And Ozzy, I feel like she's been getting more minutes, and she hasn't looked bad. It's funny. There's been a lot of clips going around of her like taking contact from other players and then just bouncing off of her. They're like, damn, just like she's coming in as a rookie, like already play with a certain physicality, but. Yeah, for the Wings, man, I'm just like, who they got to figure out. Especially the Wings need to figure out their wings. Like they got to figure out that aspect of their team and like who's getting what minutes and like what these lineups are actually going to be as they start to try and actually compete as the season goes on.
And I think for the Mystics on the side, like you mentioned Sona Citron, and I think the turnovers are a big thing. Like for really the entire Mystics, like 18 turnovers compared to the Dallas's 8 turnovers. I think like naturally when you consider the opportunities that Dallas had shooting 20 more field goals than them, it all comes down to turnovers and being able to force and then get out in transition and capitalize on turnovers. So I think like it's once again young teams turn the ball over. And you factor in the fact that this is a team that, well, all teams are still figuring out like, each other. It makes sense that there's going to be a game like this where it's like you just go out there and just Dallas forces turnovers, and I think it's something that the Mystics can clean up though, especially with the young team that they have.
Yeah, and because we're only, I think no team has played more than 5 games at this point, so I'm not trying to take too much from like team averages right now until we get further into the season. But like to your point, the Mystics are leading the league in turnovers right now with nearly 18 a game. So but like you said, young team still figuring it out. And I think their guards and their young players are talented enough where they'll figure this out.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. I wanted to talk about your team, the Liberty.
You keep saying my team. I'm objective. I don't have a team. I just happen to like Diane Richardson and follow her. But continue.
Well, like I said, still early on, so I don't want to. We have to take all these stats and like averages with a grain of salt. But at this point, 5 games, 4 games of the season for the Liberty into the season, they are the only team averaging 100 points in the W right now. And I gotta say, a big part of that is Marine Johannes. Dude, I already knew about her like well enough before watching this season and like like taking this role to like watch it. Brother, her shots are insane. The way she will shoot the ball with her chest faced like towards the crowd, where like she's going up the wing and her right shoulder is what is facing the bucket, and she's just whatever contact, whatever it is, somebody in her face, and she's like she has the ultimate green light as she should, because when you watch her take these shots, it's nuts to watch her go out there and just light people up. And like her shot is smooth. Like it can look weird at times, even when they're like she's getting like contest, but like it's smooth, it's consistent, and like it's just you can see why she's probably, I mean, in my mind so far, like getting into the W, like she's the best shooter.
I can't.
Like
I've had a hard time like being like. I mean, she's not like. You look at the numbers, like hard not to agree with you in that sense.
and then there's probably gonna be a bunch of people that agree, like, oh, Caitlin Clark or somebody like that, but like, or even Mabry, but probably someone would argue if you're a big enough Tempo fan. But I don't know. I'm not trying to throw shots, but I just from what I've seen so far, like the form, the technique, and just the confidence like that she has, and it helps when you have the ultimate green light. But
Yeah.
her shot is insane. And then Jonquel Jones, like someone we both are fans of, like she is so goddamn good for them, dude, and so important for the team as well. Like what she's doing for them so far down low, and then just as a screener, the physicality that she brings to them, like she truly is an important piece for that team. And I think Brianna Stewart she's got to love her. Like she has to love her.
I think like that, like her impact was seen in a game like the Mystics double overtime game a couple weeks ago, where it was like all the Mystics big, or not the Mystics, the Liberty's Big's route, and you could see that, and Liberty still won that game, but it was like not obviously not just having not having any bigs, but not having her specifically was a big reason of why it like the game just kept extending because of the rebounds and not just rebounds, but just the impact she has as a whole, which I think it'll be interesting to see, like, once again how the Liberty, like the entire point for us, how the teams progress throughout their entire regular season. I really want to see how the Liberty continue to use Jonquel Jones in different roles and constantly use her to be impactful, because this is a core that has been really good.
Yeah, and it's like, like her scoring might not jump off the board, like the screen at times, but like when she does decide to be aggressive, like it's effective. She's gonna get you the boards, and she's gonna be so useful for you off the ball, helping you set up your offense in general. That like she is legitimately, like, because I was watching when they were playing the Portland Fire last Thursday. And I legitimately, I'm watching that game. And it was like early in the game. I was like, what the hell? Like she is everywhere, and she's doing so much for them. That's not going to come up to you like stat wise, but she is legitimately just one of those like dirty work kind of players for you.
Yeah.
All right, what you got next?
That was my two games. I just had those two.
Okay. I think that was all I had for the most part. We already talked about the other stuff. Did we? We kind of touched on it. All right, let's go into our previews.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, we always, like, we're still in the point now where it's like we don't have any super crazy additional shoot around stuff. It's
Yeah, because I'm still kind of waiting for the. We're not deep enough into the season yet for us to like make too many comments.
we're getting there though. You know, we're progressing step by step.
I will say this, like, just before we get to our matchups that we're gonna be watching, it's been a lot of fun. Like, it has legitimately been, like, these games are so good.
Yeah.
Like, this league is a lot of fun. All right, what is your first matchup coming up here for this weekend?
All right, my first matchup is actually tomorrow.
Okay.
Dallas versus Atlanta. Two teams, like we talked about Dallas, kind of once again trying to figure out just. I think if there's any team that I was like, I need you to figure out things like sooner than later. I think it's them, and especially how they're not just the guard rotations, but what the wings players look like as well. Because it feels like there's so much rotational like. Just what the rotation looks like is my biggest question and concern for them. Where I think like every other team, I think you could say like, all right, like we got our guys, maybe or our girls in this case. We have everyone that we want out there, and it's just a matter of managing and what that looks like and trying to figure out like how we can best get them to play together. And I think I look at the Dallas side of this, and it's like you're trying to figure out like how they can play together, what the rotation even looks like. And who works best with each other on the court still. And I think what better opportunity to do that against a team in Atlanta who once again is another team that's completely overhauled and trying to figure things out. Granted, not as I don't think as bad as Dallas in my opinion, but yeah. So two teams that I really wanted to watch and see both from the developmental aspect.
I like it. My first one is on Friday. I've got the Sun and the Storm playing each other. Both of these teams, like I've been watching the Storm mainly because of Flau'jae, and I'm like, oh hey, yeah, I get to watch my favorite rookie. But I haven't watched the Sun enough. I've only watched one game of theirs. I'm just trying to get more familiar with both of them. But for the Storm, like I know they're probably the worst team in the league, or at least right now they are. But it is still fun for me to watch these like teams develop and like see like all right, they're turning the page. This is the next chapter for them. So, and I think for the Sun, I mean. They're definitely on their way towards turning the page as they're about to head to Houston. But yeah, that was my next one. All right, what's your second one?
Part of me wants to go with the Minnesota Sky like rematch. Just to
I have that one on Saturday.
Well, okay, so I'll let you talk about that one. And I'll go Sparks Aces. Just another game of like you talk about. We talked about this a little bit. Of like, I want to see more like Cameron Brink and how she continues to progress. I think for me,
you might have to throw this game out then because if she's gonna be going up against Asia, it's
exactly. that is why I'm saying this game because it's like, what better way to like? Yes, of course, there's the like, oh, we can ease you back into this. How about just getting thrown into the fire and having the league's best player be there and say, all right, go guard her, go try to be effective against her.
Yeah. Go out there, guard Asia Wilson, guard the Kennedy Carter and the Chelsea Gray drives. Yeah, good luck. Good luck, Cameron.
It really is a good luck situation. But I think this is like for me. There's one way to say like what is the problem on defense, and it's to go out there against an offense that is going to attack you in so many different ways, and you can say, okay, this is where we really struggled, and the Aces are a team that should beat up on the Sparks. They should do this. And take advantage.
Well, that's a good point too, because the Aces have been sporadic.
Yes, and I like it. This is a game where they can come in and say like, we can flex our muscle. Asia go out there and you can score 40, 45
in one half.
Yeah, and you can start to get into the rhythm. And one thing we talked about, like you don't want them to be the first team to figure things out, but I think they're in a place where they like if they string together a couple wins, I think like they're getting into a good rhythm.
After a season where they were struggling a lot throughout the regular season last year, and then I got to see one of those like games where they just started killing everybody towards the end on their way towards the championship. But, yeah, hey, dude, this sounds like a humiliation ritual. That's what you're talking about, what the Sparks are about to go through. But I mean, like as sporadic as the Aces have been, like they are seemingly like you said, they're starting to kind of figure it out already. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right, my next one. So yeah, I'll just go. I had Fire and Tempo on the 23rd. That one is straight up just maybe I'm being a sicko, but hey, I'm just trying to watch these two newer teams like go at it with each
Yeah,
other.
no,
The
that's
Portland Fire,
that one.
the Portland Fire have generally been like such a fun story at the start of the season. I know there's more than one expansion team this season, but the Portland Fire crowd and the way they fully have bought into that team, which shouldn't be too much of a surprise given the history that they have there with their sports and how they support like the soccer teams there and everything like that. But genuinely one of the better crowds already within the W. Like the crowd pops for even just like a layup in the third quarter. You're like, holy shit! Like this is a lot of fun. So that one is I'm purely watching that one for the vibes. I don't know how else to explain it. Like I'm just like, hey, I haven't been able to watch these teams as much as I want. Let's watch them and just have a fun time. But the one after that though, with the Lynx in the sky, like you said, the rematch. See how they do. See how they're going to be without Jackson. How they start to adjust to that. Any game where I can watch Olivia Miles and Jaquez like go at it, like that's going to be a lot of fun for me. So that one is like watch the young ones, but then also, I mean, obviously Skylar. You know, I'm gonna want to watch Skylar any chance I can get. So see how she does.
Yeah, I'm gonna once again gonna piggyback off you on the Sky and Lynx one on the Lynx side as well. Olivia Miles, I want to see like how Olivia Miles once again attacks Jaquez and what that looks like and how she continues to develop, and then also like just the entirety of the Lynx roster and once again how they progress. I think like Kayla McBride is in a good place to go out there and have another good game.
I agree. All right, I had one more. What about you?
That was you stole my one, so it's all on you now to close this out.
Okay. All right, my last one. Mercury and the Dream play each other on Sunday. That one, I've legitimately like I would say like 1.5 game because I had to cut one off, but like, and I need to get back to it actually. But Mercury and Dream, Atlanta has been so much fun for me to watch in the limited time I have been able to watch them. Like Angel Reese in the front court and like the way they've been going at it, but then like Pow and all them, like the Dream of like they're a fun team to watch. I really have enjoyed like learning them so far. And then the Mercury, kind of the same thing where. I mean, well, first of all, I just kind of want to watch Giovanna Nogic some more. Like another rookie. I know she's 28 years old and she came from another league, but like she's genuinely been like a really fun watch. But then Alyssa Thomas has been like kind of like a surprise for me where I'm like, wow, I'm becoming like a big like it's like you said, like we're kind of like figuring out some more of these players as we watch them more, being like, okay, like who fits our play style, like who do we like to enjoy like to watch? And Alyssa Thomas is becoming one of those players for me.
I like that, and it's funny that like once again I have this fantasy league and Alyssa Thomas is one of the players I was looking at and I'm like, oh, like the stats are like at least from previous seasons the stats were always there. She's just constantly being impactful, and everything I looked over, and I think that's translated into this season.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. All right. Any other matchups for us?
No, I just think like we're in the process of figuring it out, and I'm really excited excited that we've had a good season so far. And I really only think it can only get better from here with all the teams adjustments and all the players developing and continuing to grow.
Yeah, and as we continue to develop as analysts, as we discover and learn more about the W, it's genuinely like this is gonna be so nerdy, and I hate myself that I'm doing this. But like, you ever have like a video game that you play like when you're a kid, and you're like, man, like I had a lot of fun playing that campaign and like going through it, and then like you think about all the things you did, but then like you restart a new one, and you're kind of like rediscovering a lot. Like you have some familiarity with it. That's
NBA,
kind of what it feels like. Not to be too nerdy about it, but like
no,
that's kind of what
I like probably last year I found a PS4 disc of NBA 2K14. And I was like, oh, I didn't know we had this. And I was like, I mean, it still works if I put it in my PS5. So I still to this day will like I've been on my career on NBA 2K14 because I think to me that was like I loved that growing up, and also I suck at the newer ones. I just can't get into it. Like the last one I was really good at was like probably 22, maybe 23, and then after that I hung it up. I'm past my prime. Maybe I thought last year with Shea being or this past year that Shea being on the cover would be the time I got back into it, and I was like, oh, I'm so ready for it, and then I was like, I'm not feeling it. I couldn't get into it.
You do 2K is. Because unfortunately, I'll play it with my roommate, some of our friends every once in a while. Brother, it is so toxic and so
it's toxic, and then it's like it feels like now it's like it feels like it's become more nerdy and less about like actual like
Oh, it's not real basketball. I
Yeah,
say that all the time. I'm
exactly.
like,
I
this is
think
not
that
real.
like that
Yeah.
is what I hate about it. Cause like, I want to go online and play that, but it's like I'll see like the spam dribbling, the like the obnoxious like step backs and everything. And I'm like I'd fucking hate this. I'm like I just like I'm not to be like one of those old people where it's like I feel like 2K is the only time I turn to an old person and I'm like we can't play basketball the good way. Like it's
It's like this
insane.
is
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's all
yeah.
about the cheats and like and everything and like I constantly see the videos of like here's how to build the perfect like cheesy jumper and all this and I'm like what bro
Yeah.
what happened to the good old way we used to do this.
Although the last season in it right now is based on Angel Reese, so that's pretty cool. I will say my you were talking about like the game that you would pick back up. I still to this day, in full transparency, right? Like I'm 31. I still to this day I will pick up Pokemon once a year at least and replay one of the Pokemon games and like do like a run through. It's still satisfying to this
Never get into
day.
Pokemon.
And like for me, like you've never played Pokemon?
No, I can never get like I
Oh,
like maybe a couple times like when I was like little like when I had like a Nintendo DS but like not like
oh well,
consistently.
Pokemon was the first video game I ever played when I was 4 years old. And to be fair, I did grow up overseas in Okinawa, where it was like, like like every kid was playing Pokemon. Oh, also my age, everyone was playing Pokemon no matter where you lived, honestly. But yeah, so it was something I grew up with, and every once in a while I'll just go back to it, and be like, you know what, let me do a quick little like leaf green run or an emerald run, and just like that'll be like a week long thing I do on the side. Just don't tell my boss. All right. Anything else we need to talk about?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. It's been a lot of fun talking with the W again. We'll be back again next week with more content and more games and matchups to talk about, as always. We appreciate everybody who watches and listens and interacts with us on socials or on YouTube, or we hope you're subscribed. If you're not, that's fine too. We get it. But we will see you all again next week, talk more NBA and more W. So thank you all. We'll see you again soon.